Hello and welcome to Beyond the Dashboard, your guide to understanding the world of key performance indicators. I'm your host, Steve Taylor, and each episode will be demystifying a new KPI, diving deep into its significance, debunking myths, and offering actionable steps for improvement. Whether you're leading a small or large MSP, or maybe just a brilliant technician looking to level up your business management skills, this is the place for you. So sit back, tune in, and get ready to go beyond the surface, beyond the complexity, and truly understand what lies beyond the dashboard. My guest today is Natalie Marinelli, Marketing Manager for Comet Backup. Natalie has over a decade of experience in technology marketing, including time at an MSP in San Luis Obispo, California. Without further ado, take it away, Natalie.
You want to know how your little business can win big? Test, 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 refine, refine, refine. As MSPs, we're all about those numbers. We love the numbers. Data doesn't lie. So what you want to be looking at is your website conversion rate. Your conversion rate is the percentage of users who take a desired action after interacting with your website. What we call the call to action, the CTA, is you want to get someone to do something. The point of your website is not to look pretty. It's to get someone to go further down the marketing funnel. Every user experience, every customer journey has different funnels. So we talk about the marketing funnel. We talk about the sales funnel. You probably have a customer experience funnel where you're trying to get someone from being someone who doesn't use you for that many services, doesn't pay you that much, to someone who pays you a lot and uses you for everything. So in the marketing realm, what we're trying to do is convert maybe a cold or a warm lead into someone who's a hot lead. They want to talk to sales. So I think the biggest CTA call to action you're going to have on your website is some form of pushing this customer to speak to your sales team or whoever performs that sales function at your business. Maybe it's you. But speak to sales can be kind of an aggressive CTA. You might want to try some other ones like book a call or get started or explore the process. But it's worth testing it out because maybe your audience does respond really well to speak to sales or really direct to the point CTA. The point here is to test. A good website is going to allow you to A/B test. And what you want to do is not test a ton of things. You really just want to test those CTA buttons. That's the number one place you want to test and refine and figure out which message works better, and then continue to iterate on that. So what I would do if I were you is I would set up your same landing page, and one has a button that says speak to sales, and the other has a button that says book a call. Let that run for a month. Let that run for a quarter. Get some data back. See what happens. Is one performing at a 1% click-through rate and the other one is performing at a 5% click-through rate? That's a big difference in the number of leads that are going to be coming through your funnel to your sales team. If the book a call is working better, what I would do next, the following quarter, is set up that same web page and have the A test be book a call and the B test be get started, and continue to see which performs better. This is what the big tech companies do so well. This is how they have grown enormous to the size that they are. They are testing things all the time and refining that messaging.
Let's back up to conversion rate for a second. How do we track that?
That's a great question, Steve. So what you want to do is go into your Google Analytics, or if you're on a third-party platform that gives you a dashboard where it shows you what your website traffic is, what your stats are, whatever dashboard you're using, be it Google Analytics or something else, go in there, take a look, and what you want to do is look at the total number of people who are going to your website, or specifically going to that URL, that web page, and then divide that by the number of people who click on that button and therefore take that action. And a lot of times your Google Analytics or your backend will already have that metric for you. You're not going to have to do that out manually. You can set up tests where Google allows you to set up, there's a section where you can set it up and watch, and it will just report on each of those for you.
Now, one thing I want to throw out there for MSPs who are really privacy focused and maybe don't like Big Brother Google, there is a platform out there called Fathom Analytics, and you can get started for $15 a month. That's 15. a month, US. You can put the trekking tag on your website. If you're the kind of MSP that also does web design, you can put it on all your client websites, however you want to use it. But it is a nice platform. It is not as comprehensive as Google Analytics, but they're also a privacy-focused analytic company. So there's a cost that comes with privacy, right? And that cost is not being able to know the age and gender and other demographic information. You'll still be able to know if it was a Mac or a PC or mobile or desktop, that type of stuff. You're just not going to know if somebody was pregnant in the last 7 months like you can with Google Analytics.
I would argue, Steve, that that's more appropriate anyway, that, a B2B marketing, we don't care whether you're a guy or a girl. We don't, or other. We don't care. What we're interested in is perhaps more so those platform details, more that at that aggregate higher level is what's important to know.
Now, you mentioned doing some testing. So instead of saying speak to sales, you can try book a call. And then you should also do A/B testing. Do you guys use WordPress for your website? At least the front end?
Not currently, but in the past, I've worked with WordPress. We actually have a custom because we have such a large development team. It's a custom site.
If there's not a plugin, or if there is a plugin and it costs money and you don't want to spend the money, how can we manually A/B test? What would be the right way to do that?
You'd want to set consistent timeframes. And obviously, this isn't perfect. It's not an apples to apples world, but you could just try out one call to action for a month or for a quarter and then manually sub that out for a different month or quarter. Again, it can be a little bit hard to know, is January just a slow month compared to February or whatever that is, but it at least would give you some data.
It used to be that you'd have to set up conversions. And when you set those up, you'd have to tell it, I want them to go from this page to this page to this page and click this button and fill out this form. And there was a lot of work involved in that. And let's be honest, most MSPs that are listening to this are going to be smaller. So let's back this up. And as exciting as website conversion rate can be when you have all of that analytical data working correctly, how do we track website conversion rate for someone who's like Google Analytics who?
At its simplest level, what I would take this down to is, and there is a manual way to do this, just no matter what, you should be able to see how many people are looking at your website. Let's ignore the fact that pretend I don't care if they're on a Mac or a PC. Maybe I don't care about any of the data. Let's not get into that level of detail. Just look at how much website traffic are you getting, and then how many sales calls are you getting booked. That's really the place you're trying to drive people. So are those numbers going up? Are those numbers going down? And a lot of times maybe people get hung up on what's the number I should be at? And it's specific to your business. There's not a right or wrong answer for that. What you need to worry about is those numbers as a trend. So if you see those numbers going down, you should be concerned. If you see those numbers up, you're doing something right and you need to double down on those efforts. A couple more nitty-gritty tips and tricks. You want to replace generic CTAs, like learn more, with something that has an action verb in it. So instead of saying, read this white paper, you might want to say something like, find out how. Or if you want someone to read a case study, you could say, see our success stories. Trying to think of the copy on your website from your customer's point of view. How do I pull them in? How do I hook them? How do I make it not look like every other website out on the web? Being really specific with your content.
Thanks so much for your time and insights, Natalie. I really appreciate you being my guest and educating my followers.